Butterfly, fly here with me.
Hi, welcome to my summer house. Um, this movie once, I remember watching a few years back, and I was captivated by this movie instantly. In the opening of this movie is a guy busking, and he is belting out this song, and it caught me straight away, and I watched the whole movie through, and the whole movie really captured my inspiration. Um, Personally, because it just seemed to, like, I remember crying at this movie because it just felt like I felt like this guy, and you know, the empathy that I had with this guy who has this passion to sing about these things that he's experienced and share that, and yet he meets this girl who inspires him uh, to try and put that dream into reality, and they spend this little brief story of them finding a way to capture his songs to try and get them out there. And we don't know whether it worked or not as a conclusion of it, but we know that this relationship inspired the next direction or next chapter of this guy's life and her life too. And I really love this movie, and two things is the music side of it, but also the other side I really actually appreciated myself is that, you know, romance is a massive inspiration, and when we feel drawn to somebody, it's a beautiful inspiration. But sometimes you can be in a relationship and be inspired by somebody else who's not in that relationship. And I really appreciate this movie because, you know, for me, I have often found my friendships just as inspiring as my intimate relationships. And actually, I really appreciate this because there was a particular point where they maybe could have become a permanent relationship. Um, and she was already in a relationship that had been long distance. Um, but there's a particular point where they could have possibly gone that way. And I actually really appreciate in this movie that they didn't do that because I think um, it's just really highlights to me, or just kind of lands empathetically with me. But I found myself being inspired by people all my life, and you know, there's something about meeting another person, um, and sort of sharing experiences, even if that's for a brief time. And even though you sort of feel like you've connected on a real deep level, um, that this inspiration doesn't have to be a relationship. And sometimes those moments of connection that could divert you and change your relationship statuses and cause a lot of havoc sometimes in the process, and a lot of heartbreak if that is sort of, if you're in relationships and you change on that. Actually, sometimes those inspirational people are not necessarily to become a relationship like that. Um, and sometimes I think in our, you know, recent culture and history, it's almost like when you feel these strong bonds, it's almost like it almost feels like you're supposed to, or it's inevitable, or you know you're supposed to pursue these um, further. You know, you're supposed to take it to an intimate level. Like, you know, and if you say, you know, I met this really good, nice girl, and da 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 da, it's straight away, oh, well, did you? And actually, you know, for me, I've always felt like a difference somehow. It's almost the same. You know, I've been in love and I've been in relationships that's inspired songs, really deep songs. But I've met people I've not gone on to have a relationship with or seen, and seen them as an inspiration, not seen them as a relationship. And yeah, I'm gonna throw it out there. You know, if you're writing music and writing songs, and or you're in these, in your relationships and in the process of maybe writing music or doing that, you find these other inspirations, other people inspiring. Um, you don't have to form permanent relationships, and you don't have to throw away your existing relationships to pursue, um, to kind of see where that go, see where that inspiration takes you, you know. And I really appreciate this movie. I'm going to watch it again tonight. Watched it once. I mean, I'm going to put some tracks in it because I just think some of the music's brilliant. And these two work so well in the movie, and it's beautiful. And yeah, so at once there's a few songs here in the imagery of these things. And you know, this guy again is contending with all these life inspirations and contending with the relationship, but yeah, he's contending with life itself, it seems to me. And this very first song that he opens the movie up with, well, the first song in the movie, we're not in the sequence here, but the first song in the movie I think is really grappling with that, you know. Say it to me now, you know. If you've got something to say, God, or life, say it to me now, because I'm trying to grapple with this reality I'm in, when I've got this dream of wanting to become a musician or wanting to be doing well in a relationship that's not been doing so well. You know, this kind of stuff. It's brilliant. Once. If you haven't seen it, I recommend watching it. Brilliant.
You